goes back like way back into like the 18th century. Even back as far as like the Olympics started acknowledging strength as an asset to pursue, especially men at that point were doing. And then Highland Games became popular, and they started up in the 1820s, and that became a formalized sport. And evolved from there into the 19th century with a lot of show strongmen like Louis Cyr, George Hackenschmidt, Eugene Sandow was a big one. I listed some of the names there. And they would do like circus acts, so they would tour the country and internationally doing their strength acts, whether it's lifting plank boards with women on it, or one-finger deadlifts, or one-arm presses, bending steel. And they could actually make a very decent living at this, and a lot of them published books and became quite famous. They're like the superheroes of their time in that industry, in that field. The big famous one, Louis Cyr, was a famous Canadian strongman. That evolved in the 20th century, became formalized strength athletics, and it kind of got divided into Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, Highland Games, and then strongman evolved as a sport in and of itself. So then we had and you can get a little more detail in there as well. Then we had the World's Strongest Man. And this came around 1977, and they put it together for CBS. So mainly for a big media attraction, right? So you never knew what implements they're going to have. There were people carrying fridges back then. There were people like pulling boats in the water. There's all sorts of crazy. It's more of a spectacle sport, right? And this has evolved over time now, and even though they will change up the types of implements, there's some that are pretty standard in the strongman field. So today we're going to focus mostly on 6 or 7 basic strongman implements. These include sled dragging, farmer's walks. We're going to have a couple of sets of setups of a farmer's walk, log press and log clean and press, and tire flipping over here. And then I brought in my Atlas stone, which is keeping Marv's butt warm right now. I've made a list here of some of the world's strongest men of our century. Some of the names you probably recognize. Going back a little bit, there was Jamie Reeves and Sven Carlson. Magnus Magnuson isn't on here. He was one of my favorites. Magnus Bear was like a beast, yeah. And then Magnus Samuelsson, sort of the arm wrestler guy, came from there. Jeff Capes. Yoko Wola was like the smallest guy.
So who's the guy that looked like a bodybuilder?
The more recent one?
Probably like...
Well, back in the John
10 years ago?
John Paul Sigmason?
No.
JP was like, he's my hero.
I can't remember.
But a few years ago, Pujanowski.
Pujanowski, that's him, yeah.
He's the last on the list here because, I also Googled who they consider the strongest dude overall.
He looked like a...
And it's debating because he won the most contests and But yeah, he's arguably one of the most well-rounded world's strongest men ever because he had the best. He was always top 3.
Yes.
Even the years he didn't win.
That's right.
He was athletic, good shape, lean.
Always.
Yeah, all natural.
Yeah.
Oh,
No. That's impossible there.
Yeah. Yeah, you have Magnus Magnuson, Sujunas Savickas.
That's yes.
Definitely not lean, but 400. I think he weighs 400 pounds. It's like insane.
Yes.
So a lot of these guys are like superheroes. They're incredible. So it was, and when I started watching this stuff, I never figured, well, I probably will never do any of that, but it's so cool to watch, right? Yeah. And then it started becoming into strength athletes started realizing the usefulness or application of these exercises, incorporating it in their programs, and then coaches started to see the results they're getting from it. So you got strength athletes and coaches started to incorporate some of this stuff, but it was still, even a decade ago, when I started training with stuff and I was competing in little local competitions with my buddy, and we're using it, and I started getting into training, I would use the odd thing with my clients. It was still like a bizarre spectacle. People were like, what the hell is he doing? He's not standing on a no-suit ball. What's that? So, and now look at it, like, it's become so popularized, you see it even mainstream big box gyms will have a battle rope, or they'll have a sled drag in a certain area, or you see them with a log in the corner, and I see even on The Biggest Loser, now they're doing like tire flipping and stuff like that, right? So it's become so mainstream. So it's funny how what like for back then was seen strange or cutting edge, and now it's become popularized. It's almost a trend, right?